Okay, I'm gonna see if the sound is good. I feel like I'm wearing the exact same thing that I wore the last time I filmed a video like this, like the same bonnet, and I honestly feel like the same, like it's an old pajama shirt, but it's like, it's an old shirt, like it's from the thrift, but you know, it got fucked up enough to where I'm like, okay, you're a pajama shirt now, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is gonna be me dissecting my art again. Yeah, the fan's gonna stay on in the back. I got a big, I don't know, bug bite or something on my head. Anyways, this is gonna be another me dissecting my art right now video. And so the one, I'm gonna make sure I put it on the screen. Also, I did not feel like bringing out my phone stand. My phone is literally propped on a blanket right now because I didn't feel like doing all that right now. This was just based off vibes. Like this was just like, this is off vibes, as I feel like art should be. Art should be off vibes. Anyway, so I have a background story over this part of my piece that says like, I forgive you, or like, I forgive me if you aren't ready. You can read it both ways on purpose. I know, wild concept. Wild concept, putting words on top of each other so they can be read both ways. I know it's not that wild, I'm joking. Anyways, the backstory. I love telling this backstory. I've only told it maybe once or twice though, because it is like, it's a hard hitter, but I like it just because I remember when I felt called to use this piece, I was like, whoa, I was so fucking mind blown by it. Let me get into it. So that's actually a cutout from a painting that I had done. I think it was like this past Christmas. This past Christmas, it was so messy. Most people know I'm not in contact with either of my parents, and I am in contact with my grandparents on my mom's side, but that's like recent. Like that's been like a past few years, like kind of recent. I actually think this last Christmas was maybe the second time that I was like, because I think I reconnected with them the Christmas before then. So literally it's only been like 2 years or something. And when my grandpa's birthday is also on Christmas Eve, and people, like, they usually gather, like my grandma and like my great aunt, which is his sister, usually like gather at his house or whatever to like celebrate or whatever. Used to be more of us. People die, right? People die and people separate, correct? So it's very, very, very small. Like it literally, most of the time, I feel like it's like the three of them, like checking in on each other and like making sure that they celebrate with each other. Like they know, like they check in with our extended family and stuff as well. But as far as like, I feel like physically meeting up and seeing, it's just like, I feel like it's just a few of them most of the time. Like ish, right? So anyway, last year I knew that my mom was going to be there, and I guess she wasn't there the year prior. It was like on a different day than I had called last time. And my mom is a narcissist, and she also just like sucks. Like she's also just like evil unnecessarily, super duper unnecessarily. I did something evil to her at the end of, I think it was at the end of last year. No, it was the year before, which I can get into in a minute, because I love that story, because I was like, ooh, I get to be evil because you're pushing me right now. But anyway, so, and I also, my little brother, who we have an 11-year age difference, I haven't been able to contact him because of her and because of not being in contact with her, even when I was in contact with her. She's the type who like put restrictions in whatever way possible to try to like cage you into like how she wants you to be. Like she gets really creative. What a creative woman. Listen, my mom, an artist. I can't lie, she's an artist too. She just used her gifts for evil. But anyway, I knew that they were going to be there. And so I already was mentally preparing. As soon as I found out, I was spiraling for like 3 days because I was like, I know she's going to try something. I know she's going to try to push my buttons. I know she's going to try to trigger me. And I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to have to interact or engage with her at all. And so when I ended up FaceTiming them, I literally spoke to everybody else in the room. I got to speak to my little brother, who I hadn't spoken to in like 5 years or something now. Like, he's a whole teenager now. And the last time I saw him, he was like 10. Like, it was crazy. And so after the call, I didn't have to talk to her, whatever. So I was like, ugh, I made it. But then like right after the phone call, which was taken from my great aunt's phone, mind you, I get a video from her. I get a video from my great aunt, and the video has my mom's face in it. Keep in mind, I also haven't seen this woman's face in like 5 years, and she's just doing like a performance right now. Like, the video is just her performing and saying stuff about like, oh, I'm so happy to be with my family, like being really weird. If you get it, you get it. You get it, you get it. And then keep in mind, that's my mother who gave birth to me, acting like this. And I was like, I knew she was gonna like try to get under my skin somehow and try to be fucking weird. And when I watched the video, because it was so unexpected, when I watched the video, I had absolutely no reaction. I literally had absolutely no reaction, no response. Like, it did not trigger me. And I think it's because as soon as I found out she was gonna like be there, I already knew that was like, I already knew what the possibility was gonna be. And I literally like was triggered in that moment and spent 3 days spiraling beforehand. So then like when it actually happened, it literally did not affect me. And that's so fucking crazy. That is so wild how trauma works. So this happens. I am hanging out with my friend because he already knew it was a rough time. And then that happened. I was like, she did something. I knew she was gonna do something. She did something. So we like had breakfast one day, and then we started doing art. I love doing art therapy. And so we're doing art, and the full, let me find the full one. Okay, so this was the full piece. I think I literally was just like, we had Sharpie and pens, and I was like, I'm feeling big emotions right now. And I have a thing about spirals. Like, most people know, or like my friends or whatever, I'm like, most people, y'all don't know me like that. But like my friends know that like I have a thing about spirals, and like the concept of like the healing spiral, especially like with a person who has CPTSD. It's like a whole, I love the like the concept and the understanding of it. But yeah, and I didn't know what I was creating. Again, I was just like, I'm feeling emotions, and I drew a big ass head with spirals, and then I wrote a bunch of stuff, and then there was like, yeah, there was just like shapes and stuff. And then what does it say? Ooh, this is like literal spiraling was occurring on this page. I'm not gonna repeat these words out loud because I feel like that's like, I don't know, gonna trigger me or something, so I'm not gonna do that. But I will say this part, because I forgot about this, that was like around the nose and mouth, and it's kind of a mixture. And it says, when does enough become enough? Because I don't even know what I was saying, but I was saying something. I was processing. And so at the bottom, in that part that's cut out, I finger painted. I love finger painting. When I'm doing some art therapy, sometimes, not all the time, but adding the finger painting aspect, like my hands in the paint, my hands on the canvas, it just feels so different. And it's like all of this spiraling energy, it felt like it was like getting transmuted into forgiveness. And not in a, because the thing is, I've not been in contact with that woman for so many years, and before I went completely no contact, I tried like so much to maintain and repair, even though obviously I'm the one who fucking harmed, and all of that. And I've had like many different layers of grief and many different like angles of grief when it comes to her and my relationship with her. And like I've taken the time many times already at this point to feel like I have forgiven her, as in like forgiven like seeing her, and not, yeah, like being able to see her and also be like, all right, bitch, fuck you. Because you're a grown-ass adult now. Like, you're doing way too much. But it's also like, I see why. Like, I understand your wounds. And when I think about her and to the people that I've spoken to about her, it like constantly becomes so obvious based on the things that I went through, that I'm like, whatever the hell she went through in her life, I'm like, I feel like if I did not go down the path that I chose to go down, that I would be exactly like her. Like, I can just see it so clearly, like how those wounds are like just jumping and leaping from your skin, because they're like, they don't know how to exist, or like you're afraid to let them exist, you know, or whatever. And so like I can understand that. I can understand that feeling. And it reminded me, like, I guess realizing that, and also like I constantly, when I have these moments, I like, my perspective flips back and forth, where I'm not just like in that position of providing understanding to somebody else, but also to myself. And I'm like, the times that I've caused harm, and like the versions of myself where I just harmed others or harmed myself, most of the time like unconsciously, but also just like from lack of like, from fear, or from lack of like my own acceptance of myself. And then that manifesting as a different issue that affects other people, right? And so it was also like a, you know, for the version of myself that like I also could have been, that, you know, died pretty much because of the choices that I decided to make, because of the trajectory, the direction that I decided to go down when it came to my understanding of them, and what it meant for these wounds to exist with me. And so basically it just felt like so full circle, like in my, like, I don't even want to say in my heart, because I feel like it was like this connection between my mind and my heart. And so I guess that's what I mean. Like, it felt like I had realizations previously, like logically, about why she is the way she is and who she is, or whatever. And then also in my heart, that kind of feeling of like seeing, like, you know, this is like her inner children that never healed, pretty much. And so I feel like this past year, or Christmas or whatever, when this happened and I was triggered and working through this triggering, it was like the forgiveness came from this connection and alignment between my heart and my mind. We're like two truths, multiple, more than two truths, honestly, but like so many truths being able to exist at once, and that being a thing that provides me relief, instead of it being a thing that like puts more weight on me. Damn. And that's also like right under the what does that say? It says meaningful. You just see the ing part, but also meaningful, it being under meaningful. And so yeah, and then there's also a snake. Which I was like, that was wild when I was doing that, because I was just collaging paper and I was doing it around the words. Like, I was like, oh, I want to outline it, but then I was like, wait, that kind of looks like a snake, let me like make a whole loop. And then the head is actually made out of like a fabric and not like a paper collage because I had this like old fabric, and I was like, that kind of looks like a snake head, so I'm gonna do that. And then I think I only put the eye on there, but everything else was just like, that's just how it was, that's just how I took it and received it, and I just put it together. Yeah, so yeah, I also feel like this, looking at it, going through the line of all the specific meanings that I know it has, seeing it all put together, I'm seeing like the meaningfulness, like a conversation about the meaningfulness of like forgiveness, which is something that I struggle with for sure. Like that's one of my things. But it's like being able to recognize the meaningfulness of that, because that's where transformation can occur and does occur. And just, yeah, and not asking anybody else but yourself for that permission as well, for when you're ready. When you're ready. You don't have to wait on somebody else to speak or to hold themselves accountable in order for you to drop that weight. And you also do not need to wait for somebody that you harmed to like tell you, hey, it's okay, I forgive you, in order for you to forgive yourself either. In order for you to truly see yourself, because once you truly see yourself, then you're able to actually change the behavior that needs to be changed. And that can't be done with shame. You have to give yourself permission. Nobody else can give that to you. And that's the shit that's so powerful. Healing is so powerful. Like, it's so annoying and like super exhausting. But it's also like so powerful and so beautiful and can be so renewing and really like expand like life, period. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. Thanks for joining or watching or whatever.